Hi everyone. So it is Sunday, and I was, as you probably seen from my last videos, I said if I was able to get this published on Sunday, then I would do. And it's Sunday, and I got home from the Literature Festival, Cheltenham Literature Festival sooner than I anticipated, so I have been able to upload this today. Fabulous. So this is my review of Neil Gaiman's Anansi Boys. Hopefully I pronounced that right, but that's how I see it in my head. Is how it's pronounced. Just so you know, I've got a very lovely hot mug of tea here because I am absolutely freezing. It's been quite an autumnal afternoon in Cheltenham, and I'm really quite cold. I've just literally got in, and my nose is quite red. So I apologise if my nose appears red in this video. But there you go. Anyway, back to this book. By Neil Gaiman. This is a first read for me. Now, the previous Neil Gaiman book that I read in this book challenge was The Ocean at the End of the Lane, which was right back. I think it was like the second or third book that I actually read in the book challenge, and that was his most recent fiction book. He has published another one recently, but I'm not sure if that's fiction. But at that time, it was his most recent, and I was really not impressed by it at all. But when I went to pick up this book, I didn't want to have that weight, in my head, just as, he didn't get along with the last one, so am I not going to get on this one? So I just took it as, fresh thing, don't think about the previous book. And I have to say, this is the Neil Gaiman book writing that I love. I absolutely devoured this book. It was absolutely fantastic. It follows a man called Charlie Nancy, who is always referred to as Fat Charlie Nancy. And his mother is dying. She dies very quickly in the book. And his father turns up to the funeral and kind of wreaks havoc, as it were. No, sorry, not the funeral, to her bedside when she's in the hospital. And it turns out he finds later on, not long after his mother has died, that his father has died. And in going to America, Florida, where his dad is from, he discovers that his dad is Anansi, the spider god, the god, well, in the form of spiders, not that he controls spiders, in the form of spiders, and he's very conniving, and once he gives something a name, it sticks. So he got called by his father Fat Charlie once, and it stuck, so that's why everybody calls him Fat Charlie. These little things. And he also discovers that he's got a brother who he grew up with for a while, but then was separated from. But he can't remember him, because whenever he sees photos of him, of the two of them together, he sees himself standing next to a mirror or something. So he's seeing his reflection, he's not seeing his brother. And his brother's called Spider, and Spider comes into his life and completely rips it apart. So it's all about him trying to understand himself, trying to understand his father, and having this really troublesome brother who just won't leave him alone and completely ruins everything. He's quite different as Charlie to his brother Spider. You've also got this secondary strand going through, in which there is this man called Graham Coates, who Charlie actually works for. But there's this whole thing about embezzling money in the company, and his who he really is, and he has this really annoying catchline. He always says absentatively. And it's really, it just kind of makes you understand who he is as a character. Whenever he says this, it's just grinding. It's so annoying when he does it, but it really tells you about him. And it's quite interesting whenever he says the word, whenever it pops up, especially later on in the book. When it's revealed, certain things are revealed as you go along. I'm not going to say anything, obviously, because I don't want to spoil it. But he's a very interesting character, is Graham Coates. And yeah, this Neil, I loved it, loved it. This is up there with Neverwhere for me, and Good Omens and Stardust. It was just a fantastic read. The one thing with Neil Gaiman I love is that he has this understanding of a fantasy, taking his fantasy, worlds and such, because that's what he writes about, but bringing it into the now and having a pace where you can flip back and forth between different characters and different places and such, but still feel that they're very integrated. You're not being cut off. And he likes to have fun. He likes to play with words and throw in these really strange one-liners. And like at one point in this book, there's this whole thing about having a lime. You're the man with the lime, aren't you? Oh, you've got that lime. Where's the lime? And it's just so totally random to choose this thing that he's been identified because of a lime that he has in his pocket. But why a lime? What it's just so quirky and fun. But he also has this amazing ability to really make you believe in the characters straight off the bat. Just you totally know everything about them. You really feel for them. His leads, they tend to be men. Let's put it that way. The protagonist of his books. So they tend to be men. Obviously, you meet them straight off at the beginning of his books and so. And he just the way that he brings us life, they're very human. They're very they're in touch with their emotions, and I love there's this point in this book where Charlie, he has all these emotions going through, and he gets really angry and frustrated and really upset and everything. And Spider, because of the way that he's grown up, he's very aware of the gods. He knew about Charlie and everything, but he started to look for him and then got bored and moved on because that's the way he is. He's interested in something for a while and then he dumps it and carries on with something else. But he doesn't get emotions. He doesn't understand love and feeling frustrated and all this stuff. So when he starts experiencing these, he doesn't know what to do with himself. He's a bit lost, and then Charlie has to come in and point him in the direction and say, this is what humans do. This, you're not, even though you are a god, in this situation you're not a god, you're a human. You have to figure out what to do. And I love the way, and just as just as Spider has these flaws, Charlie's able to help them with him, and vice versa. Charlie is very nervous, and he does in about various things, and Spider brings him out of his shell and makes him realise his potential, which leads on to the really satisfying ending. I was really happy for Charlie at the end of this book. It was so sweet and so perfect and so right. And I have to say, I finished it this morning. I was sat in Starbucks in Cheltenham this morning and I read the last chapter. And I was really sad that the book ended. I wanted it to carry on. I wanted to explore other areas. And I think that's the thing about great writing, that if you're able to just completely immerse yourself in this world when you're reading this book and you don't want it to end, you've got it right. And I feel totally like that about Neil's work, apart from The Ocean at the End of the Lane. And so I have to say, this book is not going to be disappearing off my bookshelf anytime soon. I will definitely reread it. I strongly recommend it to anyone, even if you like fantasy, if you don't like fantasy. It's a very, in a sense, it's a very human fantasy story, because even though you've got this whole thing of gods and everything, and there is a little bit of like traveling through photos and jumping to various different places because you think about them. Other than that, you're very much in your little world, whereas other Neil Gaiman books, if you think like Neverwhere, you're going to lower London, so it's a city, but it's a completely kind of made up city. And obviously sometimes it goes back to the top, but and if you think things like Stardust, that's a completely made up place. Coraline is a completely made up place. So to have something, this one very particular, is set, in our world, although you have these little jumps to some fantasy-esque places to meet the gods, only to meet the gods, this happens. it still feels very, like he describes about going to Florida and all sorts, and you can feel yourself there. It feels so human, so it's happy, like it's happening. It's very earth based, and I totally loved it. Totally connected it with it. And yeah, I'm even right now. I only finished it this morning, and I'm gutted that I don't have it to read anymore. So yeah, so Neil, thank you for this. And I will definitely be rereading this book. So, have you read Anansi Boys? I don't know if you pronounce it the same as my I just Anansi Boys. But obviously, when you say it really quickly, sometimes it sounds a bit different. But yeah, have you read this book? I'd love to know what you think. If you want to leave a comment in the comments below, then please do. Or if you want to give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down to show you what you think of this book. Instead, it's entirely up to you, but I'd love to know what you think. And I will be back shortly with another video announcing what I will be reading next. Alright then, bye!